listen-only mode.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Tim Lankford, and I get to greet you from the wonderful campus here in Central Indiana for Gordon Marketing. I think the only agents I have listening, this was just an invite out to the Dickinson Insurance Group. So I think so far the names I'm recognizing are just with you guys. You know what? I normally don't, because we will have anywhere from a lot more agents from a lot of different backgrounds. Since you guys are all part of the Dickinson organization, if it's not too crazy of a background, so it may be a little crazy, but you guys are all unmuted, so we could have this as a little bit of a working whether it's going to be a half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour. I've set aside this afternoon for us, morning for you guys, to go over kind of the next steps, basically kind of basic mortgage protection. You know what? I'm going to even now I see Daniel, whom I've spoken with the most here. Hi, Angie. If you guys, for some reason, Angie, I'm not able to unmute your line. So if you can hear me, hi. But I may go over here and tell you what. Let's look at maybe even doing it. Excuse me, even a little bit more simple. Let me go here. Just since you guys are unfamiliar, really, of Gordon Marketing, let me give you a little bit of a quick overview of just mortgage protection, and then, like I said, just kind of open it up for questions. Daniel, excuse me, do you have any questions to kind of kick us off with anything, or what are maybe some of the expectations that you're hearing from your agents?
I really don't. I'm just curious to see, I guess, what you guys have to offer, and I've been through a few of these, and so I have a pretty good idea how they work.
Okay.
I know one of the questions I had was, do you guys on your website have a list of carriers and contact information? Because I keep struggling to find that, and then like with Phoenix, I'm getting transferred like 5 and 6 times.
Well, let's address Phoenix real quickly. You should have just really one phone number for Phoenix. Let me look at my phone here. And at that one phone number, they will get you specifically to an underwriter or somebody in contracting, and they do probably one of the best jobs of getting people's questions answered. Write down this number for any questions you guys may have for Phoenix. That number is 888-794-4447. And to go back to your original question, as far as carriers and contact numbers, there's probably, oh goodness, I'd say a dozen carriers who will not even speak to me. It's just like, seriously, guys, I'm an executive well, we've agreed that we're just going to talk to this one person in your contracting department. You know, when they have questions, everything has to be funneled through there. So I literally don't talk to companies. It doesn't have to worry about Genworth anymore, or Banner, or Prudential, or there's a half a dozen that, goodness, if you can do anything, because we have 90 carriers, if you can do anything to stay away from certain carriers, Protective is good to speak with. All of my simplified issue carriers that we really focus in on the mortgage protection side, very easy to speak with, and that's Phoenix, Mutual of Omaha, Foresters, American Amicable. But try that number there, Daniel, and hopefully that can solve underwriting questions, pending business, contracting. You say who you're looking for, and they're still a little overwhelmed, even across the nation. But just through Gordon Marketing, we've probably They were used to between 150 and, on a real busy week, they would process about 600 applications until a year ago when they brought out their simplified issue term, even though they're 165 years old. So they went from, let's say, an average of 500 applications in a week. They are now, and they're doing a much better job. I'll kind of put that caveat out there first, but they are now running between, catch these numbers, guys, 3,500 to 4,500, averaging 4,000 applications a day. A day.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. They have really cornered the market. Now, I was getting to the point of saying, guys, I'm going to yank my business. We're one of the larger FMOs in the nation of submitting applications to them, but we were waiting between, well, what you typically wait when you do a fully underwritten product. In the simplified issue business that I've been running for 7 years, I'm used to Mutual Mall, Foresters, American Amicable, of writing business on a Saturday and getting it issued and approved on a Tuesday, getting paid by Thursday. That's what we'll talk about in the mortgage protection world. And they were doing kind of what you expect out of the fully underwritten, 4 to 6 weeks. And I said, guys, we're pretty much done. And I'll have to say, within the last 30 days, after some threats and working with them a little further, they're on the express side. There's 2 ways to write business for Phoenix: express and term. And on the express side, they now are going between 2 to 3 days versus the 3 to 4 weeks. So they've won my confidence back. Okay, now I think I've got everyone unmuted. See you, JD and Angie. Welcome. We were just kind of doing some general questions here before I focus in on talking about mortgage protection in general. And I'll probably go ahead and mute us here in a few minutes when I get started, but I wanted to leave it open. If anyone had any questions, you're welcome to shoot them, or I'll go ahead and jump right into my PowerPoint here.
Hey, Tim, I have one other question.
Sure.
How confident are you now with Phoenix and the long-term success with them? Because I've seen a couple times now with companies like Americo, where you get rolling with them, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, sorry, Americo's just not a good fit anymore. Where 2 weeks before it's like, oh, we only sell Americo, they're the best company out there. Then all of a sudden it's like, oh, they're not really a good fit. So how confident are you guys with Phoenix?
Sure. Well, whoever told you that about Americo was a salesman. I write this business, and as I shared with you, for 7 years now, been in the field for 23 years, but focused mortgage protection for 7 years. So when I share, something, it's from a personal perspective. I've never believed in the Americo product only because of their underwriting is very difficult, always has been, always will be, and their pricing's about 40% higher than all 4 companies I just shared. So whoever led you down the Americo route didn't write the business, or they just, I'm sure, I mean, Americo, they've handed out huge contracts, and that's real tempting for an FMO to follow that suit, but it's not. That's never a good indicator. When I've got companies like Phoenix that is so stingy, and they have a very difficult time in handing out, whether it's a 40 or 50% contract. Now I almost like that better than I do the carriers out there saying, hey, here's a 100% contract. Here, come run with us. That being said, now you go over to a company like Phoenix, who is 165 years old, even though they've just started with the term business that's going on this September, will be 2 years old. Still, they as a company are rock solid, even as a B-rated company. That they just went from a watch to a preferred a carrier now, and looking at an A rating probably here within the summer. But that being to the side, that I don't get caught up in as much as just the product and the way it's been priced. Could they change it, by the end of 2016? Absolutely. Just like any carrier out there, they're going to run in waves. But Americo never had that wave. They never had a client-friendly underwriting. Their pricing has never been client-friendly. It was lucrative for the agent. I'm getting kind of windy here. Lucrative for the agent, but never for the two most important aspects of what I call any product, and that's the underwriting and how is it priced compared to other carriers. Phoenix, right now, as of today, the best price and, well, three, and the most client-friendly underwriting, and number three, which nobody else has in the industry on simplified issue to the extent of Phoenix, living benefits. That is just huge. But you're right, this wave could end. They won't end it like tomorrow, but they could come out and say, the end of 2016, we're taking away the living benefits, which I doubt it, because Mutual of Omaha is saying they're going to be coming out with living benefits. So if Phoenix wants to stay in the game, they're going to have to keep it in there, just because of Mutual of Omaha sees how much business they've lost from us that we've placed with Phoenix, mainly because of that one feature of, well, two features actually, the critical and the chronic is huge in this industry. And now Mutual of Omaha is saying before this summer, we'll see it with Mutual of Omaha. Does that help a little bit? Did I get too windy with you there, Daniel?
No, that was good. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, it just client-friendly underwriting, the best pricing in the nation, and the living benefits. If somebody, and I believe just as much as in the other three carriers I mentioned, Mutual of Omaha, Foresters, and American Amicable, they are phenomenal on the client-friendly underwriting, and I've never, in 7 years, never promoted Americo. And for that reason, just because of the things I've shared with you. Well, let's go ahead and dig into this. I will go ahead and get rid of any other background noise, so that if you guys have any questions, if you would please go ahead and undock your question box, or the little where it says questions, and you can type in your questions there as we get going, just to I'll keep going until I hear a question. One of the biggest things that I hear about, we're focusing mainly on mortgage protection. Well, how is this different than life insurance? Well, basically it's not. In the simplest form, of course, there is no difference other than when we are, I love it when people don't have to run on what we call a lead, but it is a response form. And let me bring that up while I am talking about that here. This is a lead. So if you guys, we've got several carriers, not probably a better term would be several companies that we work with that will produce these leads. And this is just as basic as it gets. If you die, we pay off your home. If you get sick or injured, we'll make your mortgage payment. If you outlive your coverage, money back option there, you outlive your coverage, you get all of your money back. That's a lead. And what we're doing is mailing it out to somebody who has got a recent mortgage. So either a new mortgage, a second mortgage, a refinance. As you can see at the top here, this was mailed out to Morgan Manager in Flagstone, on Flagstone Lane in Edmond, Oklahoma. And we mail it out. We get back about a 1% return on every 1,000. That's pretty typical in the direct mail. So those 10 persons who send it back will go to an agent. It is exclusive, so we don't mail it out for any other agents in that area. We're mailing for one agent so that a homeowner doesn't see the same letter. Now, it could be a different company mailing in that same area. Most homeowners, they may fill out one or two just thinking, oh, this is the same thing I filled out last time, but they'll usually stop with 1 or 2 responses. Anyhow, so we'll come back and we will send out this lead of mortgage protection. Why I make the distinction between life insurance is because what did the client send you? They didn't send you a request for life insurance. So one of the first questions that sometimes I'll get when I'm sitting with folks, isn't this just life insurance? The way that you answer that question will determine whether you'll be successful with what we call running leads. And I typically, well, last year, I'll just speak, personally from my own numbers. Last year, I was with, of course, Gordon for the entire year. I started with Gordon in February of last year, and I ran mortgage protection leads 1 day a week. I usually get about 5 to 8, on average around 6 or 7 leads per week. And I only run on Saturday. So I'm with Gordon, working with our agents and agencies Monday through Friday. Saturday of last year, I missed 7 Saturdays. So I ran 45 Saturdays in 2015. I sat on the average of 5 families a Saturday. I have 4 appointments set up so far for tomorrow. I will oftentimes just go ahead and put my phone on speakerphone. People can dial in and just listen to me make phone calls, just like I had an agency out in Las Vegas that I just put my office phone on speakerphone, and they can see just how ridiculously simple it is to call on these leads. So I was setting appointments. I set 4 appointments within an hour and a half last night. And then I'll try to set, I love 7 appointments on a Saturday. But speaking personally, again, of my numbers, on average, I sat on 5 appointments on 45 Saturdays last year. I wrote 236 applications. I had a 93% placement. You guys are used to doing fully underwritten life insurance. That's crazy numbers. The average number of fully underwritten life insurance applications is 46%. So 1 out of every 2 either get rated or declined in life insurance. I got 92% placed last year. I work 1 day a week, average sitting with 5 families 1 day a week. I made $112,000. This business works, guys. Now I am on a higher contract than where most people will start our agents on, anywhere around a 40 or 50% contract. 1 day a week, guys. Let's say that I wasn't, but let's say I was on twice the size of a contract as you. So take my number in half. 1 day a week, 5 families a day, $60,000, $55,000 on a 50% contract. Kind of fun, guys. This is kind of fun. So talking about the least invasive way to get your client's needs, what is mortgage protection? It's funds to pay off a mortgage upon death, products that provide living benefits. Daniel, absolutely, yes, we can get together after this. On the simplified issue portion, I call it the simple way. And there's really 2 ways, as you can see, to protect your client. Either the simple way or the hard way. The simple way is where we don't ask our clients to bleed for their life insurance. We tell them that there's no sticking, no picking, no prodding, no stepping on a scale, no spitting in a bucket. We emphasize that it is the simple way to get your mortgage protected. And we for sure don't tell our client, F you. I know most of you guys are out northwest, so you probably don't say such crude things, or we probably don't allow your clients to tell you F you. And as you can see there, I've got a church background, so my F you is we don't ask our clients to go fully underwritten. We just don't. We want to get paid for when we're working. How about that? Get paid for when you're working. If you want to get paid 50% of the time, then definitely fully underwritten is, I'll say that with tongue in cheek a little bit, but I've been both in both directions. But I'm going to do what's best for my client. And what's best is to give him the cheapest insurance. I'll challenge your thinking on that, and I'll call you very short-sighted and very unsympathetic towards all those clients who get rated or declined. Because what you just did to that client when they got rated or declined, that permanently goes on their MIB. So the next time they try to go get insurance, guess what? The insurance company can, before they even send out a nurse, determine from what one company said about a client's history. They may have had high blood pressure that day because they had white coat syndrome. They may have forgot about they ate a cupcake that morning, so their blood sugar's out of whack. They may have a myriad of other things have happened in their life that all of a sudden something didn't come out good on the lab. Now that person will have to go through all the lab work again. Now we'll have to get all the attending physician statement, all because what I call an agent was too lazy and they just wanted to go and do a transactional sale. Well, hey, I'm not really a salesman. I'm going to come in here and just get you signed up for the cheapest insurance that money can buy, and I'm off to my next client without really taking his or her time and doing what I consider what's best in the best interest of that client. That you slow down enough, you get a client for life, even though my sales are one and done. I am, well, take for instance, 2 weeks ago, this last Saturday, I was only able to sit with one family. I wrote one application, but that application was turned in on Monday. I was paid on Wednesday. It was a $175 a month premium, and that was issued and paid on Tuesday. So I submitted it on Monday, issued and paid on Tuesday. I was paid on Wednesday. Can't do that in a fully underwritten world. Can't really feel confident that you're going to get that client protected in the fully underwritten world. Anyhow, that's really kind of a preaching stump point for me. So we're going to move on real quickly from that, and I can go into greater detail later. But do what's best for your client. Write them on simplified issue. Come back in 12 months and say, hey, we've got this in place. Now let's get the nurse involved. Now let's see if we can get you, more insurance for less money per month. That would be huge. But do it after you've got something simplified issue in place. This is not private mortgage insurance, so mortgage protection is not PMI. It's not a method to determine your client's health. Let their doctor determine how healthy your client is. Don't let some nurse come into your client's home who's not there for your benefit, right? She's not there for the client's benefit. She's there for the insurance company's benefit. You go get your client protected. Let your client's doctor find out how healthy they are. I always there's a dozen different ones, but I always kind of go back to somebody who I greatly admired watching his skill on the basketball court. If anyone ever remembers Magic Johnson or heard stories about Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, well, Magic Johnson did not qualify for his life insurance. He applied for a $7.2 million life insurance policy. What would I have done with Larry? Because he's a world-class athlete, with Magic. I would have said, Magic, let's put something simple in place. With Phoenix, we can go over and get $500,000 in place, simple insurance. With Mutual of Omaha, we could go $300,000 without a swab. You go up to $400,000, you just would use a mouth swab, and that would have found out Magic Johnson's problem. So I won't do a mouth swab. I want to stay simple. We can go over to American Amicable for $250,000. We go over to Foresters for $300,000. I could have put over $1 million on Magic Johnson's life, and instead, well, let's go ahead and just get you the cheapest insurance out there. Let's get a nurse involved. And of course, as we know, he can't qualify for life insurance again for the rest of his life because through his life insurance application, it's found out that he had AIDS. Lead companies, you see us there. I have wonderful relationships with a company called Leco, with Mailco. If you ever want any of those leads, I will be more than glad to be able to help coordinate that for you guys. Who are our prospects? Daniel's already got business going, so anything that you've got currently, we're able to run with our 90 different carriers, everything from fully underwritten to, of course, my main focus is simplified issue, from annuities, from index universal life, single premium whole life, air, business priorities. Anyhow, anything that you need, we look forward to developing a relationship to be able to service your needs. Don't put out the idea of just direct mail. Please keep the idea of referrals in there, your natural market, anything that I can help you to develop your stallions. If you have a mortgage company you're dealing with, or if you've got P&C shops, know you guys, I think, do a lot on the health side of business. Oh my goodness, make sure you're talking to your current clients as well as creating referrals from there. I still love the old cold calling as well. Not afraid to cold call. Somebody who's hungry enough looking for a business, my goodness, make sure that you give them all the ideas of how to be able to go out and increase their income. My appointment setting's real simple. Without trying to get into a lot of that, we can create I've got another PowerPoint that talks about phone setting that you would, I'll be more than glad to go over with you at any other time. I like the simple way. You see my mantra, don't bleed, or don't ask your clients to bleed for their life insurance. I emphasize on 3 basic types of insurance. When you're sitting down doing a mortgage protection call, when you've got a lead or you're in there talking about, hey, Mrs. Jones, I've seen a way that, gosh, I know you guys talked about having a mortgage, and I've got something I want to come over and share with you. I got some information I want to get in your hands. Don't do anything more than that over the phone with a current client. But now you can go in, if you have something already term on their life, or if you don't have a permanent policy, you don't have an accidental, that's how we're protecting a mortgage payment or a mortgage loan. A little bit of AXI, a little bit of term, a little bit of perm. So an accidental policy that'll, with Mutual of Omaha, the day before somebody turns 70, you can put up to $500,000 of an accidental policy on that person. And what's awesome about that is that it's guaranteed issue. And you can put a $500,000 accidental policy on a 20-year-old. By the time they're 50, they can get all their money back, or that 20-year-old has 60 years worth of $500,000 of accidental insurance on his or her life that's guaranteed at the same price. I love my accidental policies that I sell in addition to the term policies that I sell to my mortgage protection clients. Or the perm, of course, is talking about a final expense there. My whole mindset of my in-home appointment is right there. I've got to get that family protected, whatever it's going to take. It may be an index universal life. During maybe, hey, we've got some cash over here, and I may present to them how to make their money work harder for them in a single premium whole life. So there's various ways. I'm still going to go after that simplified issue term, even though they may be 25 to 45 and they have a high net worth and they're healthy. That screams index universal life. In 2014, the last time I did more than one day a week of mortgage protection, I did $155,000 of issue paid running 2 days a week. Of that $155,000, $32,000 of it was index universal life premium. $30,000 was what we call final expense or permanent coverage. And approximately $85,000 was simplified issue term, 2 days a week. If you look at, I always still like to talk about how do I protect a family. Sometimes it's not mortgage pay off everything protection. Sometimes it's simply mortgage payment protection. So I'm trying to help a family, kind of like income replacement. So when you're sitting down with, especially people who are nearing retirement or in retirement, make sure they understand that only one person's Social Security is going to be kept. Well, let's develop a plan to help replace your husband, your wife's Social Security for a year or 2 years or 3 years. So I'm talking about income replacement. What am I referring to there? Of course, if they are making, he has $1,500 a month coming from the government, she has $1,000. When he dies, she gives up her Social Security in order to take his. So she goes down from a household Social Security of $2,500 to $1,500. That should scream to you, hey, I'm interested in helping you replace your husband's income. So what am I doing? I'm going to write a $12,000 final expense policy on the husband, because when he dies, she can receive 12 months of $1,000 while she's getting back up on her feet. Or if he can qualify and pay for a $24,000 whole life, $36,000 whole life. I've just created either a 2-year or a 3-year that the insurance company will be glad to cut her a monthly check. But would I, of course, come back and say, why don't we have all these payments come to you at once, and you put it in your bank and let you earn the interest? I digress there. But sometimes it's just mortgage payment protection. In that reference, that was income payment protection. My 6 steps to the sale. You follow these steps, there is absolutely no reason why minimum of half the people you sit with, you set the appointment with, that you should not be writing at least one application. I come out of the homes that I am sitting with on an average of 1.4 application per home. A lot of times there's just a single there. How do I do that? Well, you already heard it. I not only talk about the term, I also talk about the accidental. I also talk about a final expense. So it was my record so far that I did about 2 years ago in one home. I came out with 14 applications. Make sure that you take the blinders off and you help that family in its entirety. They had 5 children, mom and a dad and a grandma and grandpa, all living underneath one roof. So 5 children's applications, and then I wrote 4 applications on mom and dad, a term and an accidental, another term and an accidental, in the same way with grandma and grandpa. And I think there was another accidental thrown in there somewhere. Maybe it was for an older child. Guys, these steps work. Wanted to show you just real quickly, if you will go over to our website, and you're welcome to go and get off any of these forms off of our website. Instead of just pulling that up, let me do it the old-fashioned way. So you go to www.gordonmarketing.com, and you'll see this main page come up. Just click on where it says agents. You see this blue banner that goes side to side. Hover your cursor over the life. You can click right there where it says Mortgage Protection Selling System. You want to learn a little bit more about Mutual of Omaha. You want to learn a little bit about somebody right here, Josh Sivak, who made over $200,000 last year, writing 2 to 3 days a week of mortgage protection. You got it right there. This same seminar is right there. You wanted to see this again. You want to talk about how do you make $116,000 in 2016? You want to hear something about, anyhow, you see webinar after webinar, conference call after conference call, all available on our website. Let me go back to the Life tab, our main page. Now you can go here and see my in-home form. Very, very basic. Enough said. I don't want to belabor this too much, but everything from A to Z that will help you in the home. I wanted to specifically talk about or mention to you, let me see where I've got that at, on my in-home script. I'll send this out to everyone on the call right now. We've got, you see the bond and rapport, the find the pain, upfront contract. It is all right there. I've got what I say underneath every one of those bullet points. I'll send this out to you. I'm not telling you to do this and you'll become a millionaire, but I will emphasize this is how I make 6 figures working this business 1 day a week, is on this script right here. Hopefully you guys could see some worth out of it. So going back to finishing up our thoughts here, there's my contact information. Be more than glad to take a personal phone call from you. Emphasize because I've got you guys have some blessings to be a part of the Dickinson agency. So let me know that you're part of JD's agency, and I will be more than glad to do anything I can to try to help you out in any way that I can. Let's see. Kaylin, you have raised your hand, but I'm going to go ahead and unmute your mic. So if you're making any weird noises, go ahead and stop now, Kaylin. But you didn't type anything out, so I'll unmute your mic. Kaylin, do I have you on the phone? I do not. Kaylin, if you can hear me, if you've got your computer volume turned off, or if you've muted, I'll be glad to take a question from you if you have any more question. Absolutely, Daniel. I see your question. I'll be more than glad to talk about how to get the underwriters more on your side, especially in the simplified issue world, than the fully underwritten world. Hopefully that's helped. I don't know. I'll go ahead. Did this help a little bit, Daniel? Was this kind of what you guys were expecting, or? If your phone, I see your question, Daniel. If you've got the, it did answer. Okay, great, Kaylin. Thank you for sharing that. Absolutely, Kaylin. I'll be more than glad to kind of walk through the appointment again. But as you see right here, that is the whole appointment. When I'm going in, maybe some transitions. Let me maybe spend a few minutes talking about specifically, give you a quick overview. So when I set the appointment with a client, I am giving them a half an hour, either 30 minutes prior to 2 o'clock appointment or 30 minutes afterwards. And so I do everything I can to show up right on time. So I'm looking for opportunities to gain that rapport. I park on the street. I do everything I can not to park in their driveway, showing them that courtesy. As soon as I step out of the car, I'm waving. I know you may feel like a dork, but I'm waving, looking at the window. In doing this business for over 23 years, I've had several clients tell me, if you didn't see me looking through the window, I wouldn't have answered the door. Too many times we've gone to that door and we've rang the doorbell and we see the shutters shake and they don't think we've seen them. And anyhow, so I'll wave, making them think that, hey, I see you. I'm coming up there. Don't get in your trunk. If you've got a notebook, I don't take anything more than just a notebook. I've got my Phoenix applications. I've got my mutual home accidental and children's applications and my final expense and a couple folders that will have brochures to it just in my notebook. I'm not looking like an insurance salesman. I walk up to the door and I'll turn about 50% away, 25% to 50% away, looking away from the door. I ring it so that when they look out, they don't see me leering in to them. And I'm stepping about 2.5 steps away from the door so they don't feel like I'm trying to pounce on them. Anyhow, little things like that I feel like is all gaining rapport. I'll go to, as soon as I come in, as soon as they answer the door, I say, hey, you must be John, or whoever I set the appointment with, and then just introduce myself. Hey, I'm Tim, following up with you about the appointment we set for today, talking about mortgage protection. Oh, sure, come on in, Tim. I'll bow down at their door. gaining rapport, to bend down to start unlacing my shoes. 90% of the time people say, oh, don't worry about that. If it's the husband, I'll look back up to him and say, don't get me in trouble with your wife. She hasn't even met me yet. And he said, no, leave your shoes on. Don't worry about it. And I'll immediately start heading towards the table, but I want to make sure where they're comfortable at. Hey guys, I've got some brochures and a couple things to go over with you. A table is a little bit more convenient, but where do you want to sit? I don't need to be in their kitchen table. You don't have to do it at the kitchen table. You go where they feel comfortable at. And I'm just talking from the perspective of my 92% placement of my applications, of my 240, it was actually 245 applications of my close ratio. My close ratio is 9 out of 10. It wasn't quite 91%, but 9 out of 10 of the families that I sat with, I averaged an application on the term side. 1.4 applications, so 140% of the time I wrote an application. But sometimes it was, of course, not writing an application with one family, but then writing 2 or 3 with another. Sometimes it was just writing the accidental. But my purpose of my visit is always right there in front of me. And that's why I want the table, I want my lead sheet there out in front of me. And I go through the first 8 lines because I tell them on the phone the night before, or never more than 48 hours out, I make sure that I let them know I'm going to be there, and I don't set appointments for 4 or 5 or 6 days in the future. You want to talk about a bad no-show rate? There you go. You set your appointments within 48 hours and your no-show rate will go down drastically. And a part of setting the appointments, which is another presentation I'll be more than glad to roll out for you guys without going into it now, but I make sure that I lock down that appointment. I'll be glad also to get on the phone with you guys. You guys are welcome to be a part of my webinars on every Tuesday at 11 a.m. or every Friday at 11 a.m. is an agent who's making it happen. Today, Jennifer Green out in Montana has been doing mortgage protection leads for over 10 years. And wow, she's got it down. You'll hear her on our website. You'll be able to access her phone call that she had with me today here probably by the middle part of next week. But by the time that I'm within 15 minutes of sitting with that family, I've gone through my in-home little sheet that I have that we brought up off of our website. I'm on line number 8 within 15 minutes. So I've found out what their mortgage amount is, how much they pay per month, their names, of course, their date of birth, whether they have insurance that they own, or do they just have insurance through the company they work for, which, as we all know, is no better than the paper it's written on, because as soon as they leave, they quit, they get fired, they're no longer will have that insurance. So I poke real big holes in that. Then I move directly into what other amounts of money do you have that would help pay off this mortgage? Where, what do you have in savings? What do you have in your retirement? Depending on how you ask that, you'll get a good, honest answer. My pre-close happens right there. Within 15 minutes, I look at both persons or the one client who's sitting down in front of me, and I say, John, I'm a man of integrity. I told you 15 minutes, and I'm 15 minutes into this. I see why I'm here. You want to sleep better at night. I need your permission before I go any further. You can see on this in-home form, I don't call it that, but I say, you can see on my form here, I've got about another 10 or 15 minutes. We've got some other questions that I need to ask you, get some answers on before I could recommend how we could protect your mortgage. And I flip the sheet over, and then you see here, I'm going to give you one price for an accidental, one price for a full value if I feel like I can help you. And that's going to take another 10 or 15 minutes. Do I have your permission to move forward? That's part A of my pre-close. He says yes. I'll say great. Because of the state of Idaho, Indiana, California, wherever you're at, I have what they call an unlimited, unrestricted license to help people protect their mortgage. I'm proud to say as I walk out the door today, you'll have this coverage in place. I'll pause. We still have to get the final approval from home office, but you set this price. I get to walk out knowing I've done the right thing by you. If you die, we're either going to take a portion of this mortgage and pay your wife, your family, whoever they're wanting the beneficiary to be, or you outlive this, John. We'll talk about ways of how to get all of your money back. Does that make you feel pretty good? I'll get their buy-in, and if I get anything other than, wow, you could really do that. If I get, well, we don't do anything the first time we look at things. Hey, we're just here talking about prices. I will overcome that here without going any further. The most important thing that I could probably share with you today is you don't get that pre-close there. You're wasting your time. You don't get them to buy into it and say, wow, okay, that really does. So in other words, you've not done enough digging. You've not created enough of a need for that family to come back to you and say, wow, that sounds awesome. We're going to be able to put this protection in place today. If you don't have that buy-in there, you've wasted your time. The qualifying and the application are just normality is anything. Right there in those first three is where I close my sales. The qualifying is just the rest of that first of that in-home form where I say, okay, what prescriptions have you ever been on? If they've been on blood thinner, if they've been on any heart medication, they've been on diabetic medication ever, that's going to come up in their MIB. Even though it's simplified issue, they still have to have a certain level of health. But the qualifying is just making sure, have you ever had a heart attack, cancer, or stroke? If they've ever had any heart issues, understand your Bible. Your Bible in this business is your underwriting guide. Your underwriting guide, and even Americo's product is at least beneficial when you really scrutinize that. My problem with Americo is that they have so many other qualifiers that even though their application and their underwriting guide does not specifically say if you've had cancer ever, we're going to disqualify you, but it really does. That's how they treat cancer. And there's about 13 other areas that I've got issues with Americo, why I don't even allow them. We had our big expo yesterday, National Expo, that they were there, but why were they there? They were there because of final expense. I love their final expense, but they will not ever be promoted as a term option for my team. Anyhow, to qualify is just making sure their history, and then I don't fill out an application. I go and say, I go from the qualifying, I flip over my in-home form, I give them one price for an accidental, one price for a full, what I call full value. Usually we'll lead with Phoenix. They die of anything, they're going to be able to their wife, their significant other, their beneficiary will receive the face value if they just period die. But if they die only of an accident, that's the only time that the accidental coverage will come into play. But it's so inexpensive. It lasts forever. Mutual Omaha being guaranteed issue. If I say, to a 65-year-old, the least expensive $50,000 I can find you for a simplified issue is, $75 a month, but I can go over here to the accidental and show him for, $50,000. He can pick up something for $30 a month. He says, wow, I can do that price. So I get something. Do I get what I really want? Absolutely not. I want, if he dies, to get him coverage, but that accidental there is there for an open door. I want to come back in 6 months, in a year. Now let's reevaluate it. Let's try to put more teeth to your policy than this simple accidental. I want them to do both because now I've doubled their coverage, and yet one of them only costs a third of the other price, without getting too much more into that. But that's how I give my pricing, and I simply, after I've showed them, okay, here's this price for this price for this, I look at them and I will say, how does this fit in your budget? shut up and let them respond. And depending on, and this is an eyeball to eyeball, kneecap to kneecap presentation, how they respond to that will be key to the way that you react. They say, then you know you're in the ballpark. They kind of take their, you've taken their breath away. What I try to do is come up with approximately and I look at each buying unit as $100. So if I can do $100 with mom and $100 with dad, so I show $200 a month, then that's usually where I'll start. If you're dealing with people, much younger than 50, then yeah, just go straight up. And typically, if I'm getting to that $100, whether it's a 10, a 15, 20 year, that's where I'm going with it. I don't go into saying this is a 10-year term, but I go in saying this is your initial step. We want to cover at least the first 10 years of your mortgage, the most critical part. And in 6 months, in a year, I want you to look at doubling your coverage. Maybe let's look at it doing it for 20 years or 15 years, but let's start here as your initial step. So depending on how you present it, we'll always go back to how they respond back to you. So, and I don't fill out the application. I say, okay, guys, so this price works well for you. And okay, we've got a short questionnaire here that I've got to send into home office. I don't say, I got to get your application out to send to the insurance carrier, and I need you to sign it, and I need you to give me a check. So ease up on all that. I get out a questionnaire from home office. I make sure, hey guys, all I need from you is your driver's license. I don't make any big deal about it. I just look down and I start filling out the questionnaire. What's your social security number? You don't make another deal about it and say, ooh, what is your social security number? Don't be creepy. So make it very nice, easy transitions. So and then I either, if the application is stapled together, I earmark the places where I need their okay. If that makes sense, I don't need their signature. I don't need you to sign here. Hey, I've got the pages earmarked for you to okay. Excuse me, and on one of those okays is their electronic funds transfer. So another place that a lot of my agents get, goofed up on. They've already signed it. You don't need to go into any big detail. All you simply now have to do is, hey guys, I don't collect any live payment today, so don't even write out a check and sign it. All I need is a check with you writing void over it. We send that into home office, and when you are officially approved, they will send a voucher to your bank for your bank to pay this. Again, make it as easy as a transition as possible without saying, electronically, your bank's going to be debited monies for this payment. Hey guys, all I need is a voided check. I'm going to send that into home office. Home office will send a voucher to your bank to pay to keep your mortgage protection in place every month. Hopefully that helps. Yeah, more than glad. We are finished here. If you guys, thanks for that information, Daniel. Hopefully, let me know, Daniel, JD, Angie, if this has been beneficial, and roll out and help you in any other ways that I can. Guys, have a powerful day, and I wish you many, many blessings from God. Take care, guys.